Parents took sister to Europe for graduation. I got a card. Now they need help, and I'm in Bali. My mom's name lit up my phone while I was standing barefoot on a tile floor that was still wet from someone mopping, trying to decide between coconut iced coffee or just water because the humidity already felt like a hand on the back of my neck. I've been in Bali for 3 days. I promised myself I wouldn't check work emails, wouldn't doom scroll, wouldn't fall in a habit of holding my breath all day like something bad was about to happen. Then my phone buzzed again. And again. 3 missed calls in a row. That's not a "hi, sweetie" call. That's a "we're about to make this your problem" call. My stomach did that tight twist it always does when my parents call out of schedule, and before I could talk myself into letting it ring out, I answered, "Where are you?" Mom didn't say hello. No, "How's your trip?" Just that, sharp and immediate, like she caught me doing something wrong. I could hear my dad in the background clearing his throat, and the TV was on too loud, some game show laughter bleeding into the call. "In Bali," I said because it sounded ridiculous even to me, like a kid confessing they skipped school. Motorbikes whined past outside the cafe, and the smell of incense drifted in from somewhere. I looked down at my own toes on the tile like they were evidence. "So it's true," Mom said. "You're actually in Bali. While we're here dealing with this." My mouth went dry. Dealing with what? There was a pause where she wanted me to panic. She always leaves a pause so you fill it with guilt yourself. "Your father's hours got cut," she said finally, and I could hear the strain in her voice now, the kind she saved for when she wants you to feel like you're holding a rope and they're dangling off a cliff. "And the bank, well, we got a letter. We need help. We need you to send something today." Behind her, Dad said, louder, like he wanted me to hear the performance, "Tell her it's urgent, love." Mom inhaled. "It's urgent." I stared at the little handwritten menu board in front of me like it might give me instructions. My fingers were sweaty on the phone. "How much?" I asked. Mom said the number like she was ordering a coffee. Not a small number. Not a "can you cover groceries?" A number that would wipe out the savings I'd built over 2 years of saying no to myself. My face went hot, then cold. I can't just... I started, and then my voice caught because I could already hear what was coming next. "But we're your parents. Family helps family. After everything we've done." Mom didn't even let me finish. "Don't say you can't," she said. "Don't start. We didn't raise you to be like this. Like this. Like someone who has boundaries. Like someone who isn't immediately available to fix what they've broken or ignored." I swallowed. My throat felt tight, as if my body was remembering all the times I'd stood in my childhood kitchen being told to stop making a scene when I was just asking to be treated fairly. "Where's Hannah?" I asked because the name came out before I could talk myself out of it. My sister's name. The one that always sits between us like a third parent. Mom went quiet for half a second, then did the thing she always does when I mention Hannah in relation to responsibility. "This isn't about Hannah," she said quickly. That was basically yes. "It is about Hannah," I said, and my voice sounded calmer than I felt. "It's about who you call when you need something. It's about who you take to Europe and who you give a card to." There was a sharp inhale on the line. Dad's voice cut in, low and angry. "Don't you start with that again. Not now." It was a Tuesday night when Hannah announced her graduation trip at dinner, like it was a trailer for a movie everyone had been waiting for. We were all sitting at my parents' dining table with the same floral placemats my mom has had since I was 15, and Mom had cooked her special roast. Special meaning the one she makes when she wants to show love in the form of effort, but only when she feels like it matters. Hannah was in this bright, effortless mood, the kind she gets when she knows she's the center of gravity. She had her nails done and her hair curled, and she kept touching her necklace like she wanted us to look at it. "I'm thinking Italy," she said, swirling her wine. "And Paris. And maybe Spain if we have time." Mom's eyes lit up like Christmas lights. "We could do a little tour," she said. "We'll make it a family thing." Dad nodded, already smiling. "You deserve it, love," he said to Hannah. "After all your hard work." I remember staring at my plate because I wasn't sure what face to wear. Hannah had graduated from a decent uni program, sure. She worked hard in her own way. But I had graduated too. Not that week. Mine had been the previous year. I'd walked across the stage in a borrowed gown after working double shifts to pay for textbooks and commuting on the bus because my car was held together with prayers and duct tape. My parents came to my graduation. They sat through the ceremony. They took 2 photos. Mom cried a little, more at the speeches than at me, and afterward they handed me an envelope. A card, just a card, signed in Mom's looping handwriting with Dad's name squeezed in like an afterthought. There was no money inside, not even the symbolic "here's $50 for dinner." Just the card, and Mom saying, "We're so proud," in the same tone she says that's nice when someone tells her about a new recipe. Hannah had seen it, and she'd smiled that tight little smile that says, "Of course, that's what you got." Then she posted a photo of herself with my parents on Facebook with the caption, "Proud of my family for supporting me," even though it had been my graduation, and the photo wasn't even from my graduation day. It was from Christmas. I remember because I was wearing a red sweater and holding a plate of pavlova. So when Hannah announced Europe and my parents immediately launched into itinerary planning like they were travel agents, something inside me went very quiet, like a switch flipped from hope to resignation. "Cool," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Sounds fun." Hannah looked at me over her wine glass. "You should come," she said, and I almost believed her for a second. Then she added, "If you can't afford it," with a little laugh, like it was a joke and not a knife. Mom laughed too. Dad chuckled. No one told her to stop. No one said, "Hey, that's not kind." The room just rolled on, because in our family, Hannah's comments are banter and my reactions are drama. That night, after dinner, Mom cornered me in the kitchen while she scraped plates into the bin. "Don't take it personally," she said without looking at me. "We're doing this for Hannah because she needs the encouragement." I remember gripping the edge of the counter so hard my fingers hurt. I didn't need encouragement. I asked quietly. Mom finally looked at me then, eyes tired, and said, "You've always been independent. You'll be fine." That sentence has done more damage to me than any insult, because it sounds like praise, but it's really permission to neglect. So yes, I still remember Europe. I remember the photos, Hannah in front of the Eiffel Tower, Mom in a scarf looking delighted, Dad holding a gelato like he'd discovered joy. Hannah posted constantly, tagging my parents, writing captions like, "Making memories with the best." Everyone commented hearts. My aunt wrote, "So proud of you," like Hannah had invented air travel. And me? I got a card. And then when I asked my parents for help later that year because my rent went up and I was stressed, Mom said, "You'll figure it out." Back in the cafe in Bali, Mom was still talking, her voice rising with that familiar mix of panic and indignation. "We are not asking for much," she said, which is always how she introduces a request that would ruin me financially. "We're desperate. The bank doesn't care about excuses. We raised you. We clothed you. We fed you." I stared out at the street where a tourist couple was arguing softly about directions. A dog slept in the shade like the world was simple. My chest felt tight, and for a second I hated myself for being in Bali. I hated that joy always comes with a bill in my family. Like the moment I do something for myself, someone shows up with a handout and a guilt speech. "Mom," I said carefully, "I saved for this trip for a long time." "Oh, please," she snapped. "You're in Bali. Don't talk to me about saving. You could have saved our family instead." I closed my eyes. Dad said something in the background, and Mom covered the phone like she was trying to control the narrative. I heard Dad's muffled voice. "Tell her if she doesn't help, we'll lose the house." Mom came back on. "We could lose the house," she said, voice trembling now. And I could tell she was working herself up because tears make better leverage. "Do you want that on your conscience?" There it was. The hook. I took a slow breath and tried to keep my voice steady, even though my hand was shaking. "Send me the letter," I said. "Send me the bank notice. Send me your budget. I need to see exactly what's going on." Mom went quiet in that offended way she gets when you ask for specifics. "Why?" she said. "Because I'm not wiring thousands of dollars without understanding," I said. "That's not being cruel. That's being responsible." Dad's voice snapped through clearly now, like he'd taken the phone. "So you're interrogating us? That's what you're doing? After all we've done?" I could picture his face, tight jaw, angry eyes, the way he points his chin when he thinks he's being disrespected. My body reacted like it always does with Dad. My shoulders rose, my stomach clenched, My brain tried to figure out what answer would end the conflict fastest. But I'm 30 now. I'm tired of ending conflict by swallowing myself. I'm asking for transparency, I said, and I'm asking where Hannah is in this. She has her own life, Dad snapped. And I don't. I asked, and I hated that my voice cracked because it gave him something to dismiss. I'm literally in another country right now. Dad's laugh was short and bitter. Exactly, he said. You're on holiday while we're drowning. The word holiday made me see red. Because of course Bali is a holiday when I'm paying for it myself, but Europe was memories when they paid for Hannah. Okay, I said, and my tone went quiet in a way that surprised even me. Here's what I can do. I can pay one bill directly, utilities or a portion of the mortgage, once I see the notice. I will not transfer money to your account, and I will not do this alone. Hannah needs to contribute. If she doesn't, then we can talk about selling something, downsizing, hardship programs, whatever. But I'm not emptying my savings because you don't want to have a hard conversation with your favorite child. Silence. Pure. Stan silence. Like I'd spoken another language. Then Mum's voice came back, small and sharp at the same time. How dare you, she whispered. I let out a shaky breath. Mum, I said, you dare. You dared for years. She made a sound that was half sob, half scoff. You always do this, she cried. You always make everything about competition. About Hannah. Why can't you just help? Why do you have to punish us? I looked down at the condensation on my glass of water. The tile floor was cool under my feet now, but my whole body felt hot. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. Dad cut in again, voice hard. If you don't help, don't bother calling yourself part of this family. There it was. The nuclear option. The thing they think will make me fold because they know I still crave belonging, even after everything. My chest hurt. I swallowed. My throat felt raw. Okay, I said quietly. What? Dad snapped. Okay, I repeated. If that's what you want to do, then do it. But I'm not being blackmailed into saving you. Mom started crying properly, then the kind of crying that's loud and breathy. You're so selfish, she sobbed. You're in Bali living your best life, while we're... And I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to my trip be framed as a crime. I couldn't listen to their emergency become a weapon. I interrupted, voice shaking but firm. Send me the documents, I said. If you want help, send me the documents. And call Hannah. Dad said, Venom is fine, and hung up. I stood there in the cafe for a full minute holding my phone, staring at nothing. My hands were trembling. My face felt numb. A staff member walked past and smiled politely like I was just another tourist. And I wanted to laugh because if she knew the conversation that just happened, she'd probably back away slowly. I walked back to my villa in a haze, past scooters and little offerings on the ground and groups of people laughing. I should have felt grateful. I should have felt relaxed. Instead, I felt like I'd been yanked back in my childhood by an invisible rope. When I got to my room, I sat on the edge of the bed and opened my messages. No documents, just a text from Mom. If you can afford Bali, you can afford your own parents. I can't believe you've become this person. I stared at that sentence until my vision blurred. Then I did something I've never done in my life without a therapist basically holding my hand. I texted Hannah. Mom and Dad say they need money urgently. How much are you contributing? She responded almost immediately, like she'd been waiting for drama to drop into her day. What? I don't have spare money. Also, why are you messaging me like that? I felt my jaw clench. I typed, deleted, typed again. Because they're asking me for a lot, and I'm not doing it alone. They took you to Europe. You can help now. Hannah replied. That was years ago. Are you still jealous? Jealous. Not hurt. Not exhausted. Jealous, like fairness, is a personality flaw. My hand shook as I typed. I'm not jealous. I'm done being the emergency contact while you're the celebration. There was a pause then. LOL dramatic. I can maybe send like $200 next week. Don't make this my problem. I stared at the screen. $200 next week. Like she was offering to spot someone lunch. Something in me went weirdly calm again. Not numb, clear. I took screenshots. Not to be petty online. For me, to hold on to reality, because my family is very good at rewriting history until you feel insane. Then I did something else. I pulled up Hannah's Europe photos, the ones Mom reposts every year as a memory. I looked at my graduation card sitting in my drawer at home, because yes, I kept it because I'm the kind of person who keeps things that hurt like proof. I remembered Mom saying, "You'll be fine," and I decided I would be fine, but not by sacrificing myself to keep them comfortable. That afternoon, Mom finally sent the bank notice. When I opened it, my stomach tightened, not because it wasn't real, but because it wasn't a sudden lightning strike either. It was late payments. It was fees. It was months of ignoring things until it became urgent. It was also a line item that made my eyes narrow, a recent personal loan. Not small. I called Mom back, and my voice was steady now, not warm, but steady. "What's the loan?" I asked. Mom went silent for a second. "It's nothing," she said. "It's not nothing," I replied. "It's a loan. Where did it go?" She exhaled loudly. "We needed it," she said. "For what?" Another pause. Then, like it was normal, Hannah had that deposit for a new place. Mom said. She was stressed. She needed help. My body went cold. Not metaphorically. Like actual chills crawled up my arms. "You took out a loan to help Hannah," I said slowly, tasting the words. "And now you're asking me to cover your mortgage." Mom's voice sharpened immediately. "Don't twist it," she snapped. "We help our children." I laughed once, quietly, because if I didn't laugh, I'd scream. "You don't," I said. "You help one child, and you expect the other to be your backup plan." Mom started crying again, but this time it didn't hook me the same way. "We didn't mean," she started. "Yes, you did," I said, and my voice was shaking but honest. "Mom, you literally just told me you went into debt for her. You didn't go into debt for me. You didn't even give me money in my graduation card. And now you're calling me selfish because I won't fix what you broke." Dad's voice cut in from the background, harsh. "Enough. Are you helping or not?" My fingers tightened around the phone. I looked out at the little pool outside my room, the way the light hit the water like ripples of glass. I could hear someone nearby laughing and a bird calling from somewhere in the trees. I felt tears burn behind my eyes, not because I was weak, but because it hurts to finally see your family clearly. "I will pay one mortgage payment directly," I said slowly. "To buy time. That's it. Then you're going to call the bank and set up a hardship plan. You're going to tell Hannah she needs to contribute more than $200 next week. And you're going to stop acting like my life is less valid because I'm not your favorite." Dad scoffed. "You're so ungrateful," he spat. "Maybe," I said quietly. "Or maybe you're just not used to me saying no." Mom's voice went small. "So you're really going to stay in Bali," she said, like it was an accusation. I looked at my suitcase in the corner, at my sandals by the door, at the little itinerary I'd made for myself. Sunrise, temple visit, massage I'd booked because my shoulders are permanently tight from stress. "Yes," I said. "I am staying. I'm not flying home to be yelled at in person." Dad snapped. "Unbelievable." And I heard him walk away, the sound of his footsteps heavy. Mom whispered, "I never thought you'd treat us like strangers." I closed my eyes. "You taught me," I said softly. "Every time you chose her and told me I'd be fine." That night, I sat on my bed with the ceiling fan whirring above me and my phone face down beside my thigh like it might bite. I felt guilty. Of course I did. Guilt is my default setting with my family. But underneath it, there was another feeling that was new enough to be unfamiliar. Relief. Not relief that my parents were struggling. Relief that I didn't cave. Relief that I didn't instantly erase myself to keep them afloat while they kept handing life vests to Hannah. The next morning, I paid the mortgage amount directly through the bank's portal after Mom forwarded the details. Something she did with a stiffness that told me she was still angry, still offended, still framing this as my failure, not theirs. I messaged Hannah again with the proof that the loan was for her deposit. "Mom just confirmed the personal loan was for your deposit. They're short because of it. You need to step up." Hannah left me on read for 4 hours. Then she replied, "Why are you being like this? I didn't ask them to do that. Also, you're literally in Bali." I stared at her message and felt something in me settle. "Also, you're literally in Bali" was her version of "also, you're not allowed to have joy unless I approve it." I typed back. "I asked for help once and got a card." You got Europe and they got a loan. You don't have to like hearing it, but it's true. She didn't respond. Later, Mom texted me a photo. Not of the bank. Not of anything practical. A photo of Hannah in front of the Colosseum from years ago, like she was trying to remind me who the story was always about. The caption was, "Family should stick together." I looked at it for a long time. Then I did something that felt like ripping off a plaster. I replied with a photo of my graduation card. The one with no money inside. The one with "We're proud," written like a generic greeting. I'd taken a photo of it once because I couldn't bring myself to throw it out, but I also couldn't look at it without feeling small. My caption was simple. This was my graduation. I've been sticking together alone for years. Mom didn't reply for a full day. When she finally did, it was just, "I didn't realize you kept that." I read that sentence and felt this weird ache. Because of course she didn't realize. She didn't realize because she didn't imagine it mattered. She didn't imagine I carried it. I'm still in Bali as I'm writing this. I'm sitting on a little balcony with a lukewarm coffee and damp hair, listening to scooters in the distance and the soft slap of a broom on concrete somewhere below. My parents are still stressed. They're still angry at me in that way people get angry when you stop playing your assigned role. Hannah is still silent, which tells me she's either embarrassed or plotting a way to make herself the victim. And me? I feel shaky and sad, and also weirdly proud. Not because I won, because I didn't fold. I helped. I didn't abandon them. But I also didn't let them pull me back into the family pattern where my only value is what I can provide when things go wrong. I don't know what happens next. Maybe my parents will actually set up hardship payments. Maybe Hannah will finally contribute something meaningful. Maybe they'll all decide I'm selfish and freeze me out for a while. They've done it before. They'll do it again if it gets them sympathy. But for the first time in my life, the thought of being the bad daughter doesn't feel like the end of me. It feels like proof that I'm finally living outside their script. And honestly, if they're going to punish me for not saving them the way they saved Hannah, they can do it while I'm watching the sun set over a place I paid for myself. Without asking permission, without shrinking, without pretending a card was enough.